Hi, everybody. This is Dennis Wilborn, founder of Active Trend Trading. Thank you for taking the time to watch this free video that we do every week. It is a video where we cover the markets. We also have oftentimes have some trades that we might be setting up that you might want to take. But I want to ask you, before you leave the page, as you watch the video, just give us a real quick thumbs up and share the content with somebody else. Leave us a comment. We'd really appreciate that. So aloha, God bless, and mahalo. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is Dennis Wilborn with the Active Trend Traders. I want to welcome you to today's session of how to make money trading stocks, options, and ETFs. We're seeing a little bit of market kind of just hesitating a little bit as we move into the final couple of hours on this Friday. I think this is Good Friday also. But anyway, that's what's going on. I want to thank you for joining us, whether you're joining us on Facebook or you're joining us on YouTube. I want to say thank you very much to those who've joined us live. Welcome. Let's get down to business here. If you like the content, please feel free to share this content with anyone that you know. Heavens, we can let everybody participate in earning some extra bucks. And so let's get going. I'm going to switch over to the screen. I'm going to turn my video off. I just got an alert that popped off, and so we'll see what's going on with that. And again, good afternoon, everybody. This is Dennis Wilborn with the Active Trend Traders. I want to welcome you to today's session. It is the, what is it? Today is the 12th of April. We're, pushing forward in the month very succinctly. I want to remind everybody that all the materials we do present are for trading purposes only. Traders should always paper trade any new method prior to the risk of their own personal capital. Just always remember this. It's your job as a trader is to wait. I know that many of us, as we're learning how to trade, or as even if we've been trading for quite some time, waiting is sometimes the most difficult discipline to develop and nurture. Why? Because we don't like to wait. We like our instantaneous gratification, all that kind of stuff. And with trading, it's not a deal like that. It's you want to have a rule-based mechanical system for doing your trend trades, and that's what Active Trend Trading offers you. Our objective of today's session is basically to provide timely, actionable intel at the end of the week for those seeking to clarify, simplify their market decisions so wealth can be multiplied. Our market review, just taking a real quick look at the market still needs to do a pullback. We've had these little micro pullbacks, and we'll take a look at the charts, and you'll see that on all of the indexes over the last few weeks, or actually since the day after Christmas, only small brief pullbacks, and that's it. And so what do we have to do now to make some money for this in the market? We'll also look at the let's see, market preview, stocks, ETFs. Got a couple of stocks to watch. The tail of a couple of stocks that we'll be taking a look at. I want to take a look at Netflix real quick. And the reason why I want to take a look at it is if you're learning how to trade, what happened to Netflix and what happened to Tesla this week is what can happen with a stock. News-driven events that are reactionary, that can knock the wind out of your sails. And so you have to be ready for those things to happen. You know what? I don't think I put that up. Dadgummit. And so, anyway, we are up about 7% for the month, and I don't know why that didn't come through. Okay, it didn't, but let's take a look at looking at the charts. And also taking a look at, our strategic compounding. How are we doing with this? We are, we had some really good progress the first couple of weeks in April. We are now up about 47% on this. And what is strategy 2 and what is the strategic compounding? what I found was strategic compounding is something, or compounding is kind of a lost art. When the banks stopped paying, 2 or 3, 4, 5, 6% in interest, people kind of lost their interest in compounding. Now, they may have transferred that interest over to trading the stock market or just buying the indexes. S&P tends to go up about 8% per year since its inception. However, there is better ways. With the tools we have in place now, we can look at, compressing our compounding periods. And so that's what we're working on with strategy number 2. And it's an option type strategy, but we want to generate 5% on our balance. We started with $10,000. We are now up to $14,793. Our target for next week is $739. So that's what we're looking at. What else are we looking at? We're looking at a couple of things. Natural gas. Natural gas should be starting to catch a bid first part of April, moving on into the summer months. Hasn't happened quite yet. NASDAQ tends to also catch a bid into the midsection of April. We're at the midsection of April. Are we going to see the indexes now rally through the through the late spring and into the early summer? We'll see. We've had such a strong first few months of the year that it'll be interesting to see if that in fact does take place this year. Gold futures tend to move a little bit sideways during this time of the year, and we're actually seeing that happen. But one of the things that is very interesting is we're seeing gold and oil futures starting to resemble a little bit more of their normal seasonality. And so that should give you a clue as to how we want to trade those. Future presentations. 1, if you have a group, even if you do it in your home, where you had 5 or 6 people who wanted to have an active trend trading meeting, I would be glad to come and present to you via the webinar. If you have like a meetup group, would love to present on that. I would actually really love to present on this concept of strategic compounding, because I sense there's a lot of people out there who are in the age range of somewhere between over 55, who have either didn't do too well in starting out their developing their who didn't do it in developing and building their nest egg, or maybe their nest egg, something happened and they just basically had to spin their nest egg on something else. Well, the strategy 2 is aimed at folks in that category who would like to, hey, I want to rebuild my nest egg. And wouldn't it make life a lot easier if you're, in your 55, 65, 75, if you could take a couple of $1,000s and turn that into $100,000 within a year or so? I think that would definitely improve your quality of life. And so that's what we're after with that. So if you want more information on that, shoot me an email. I'd love to present to you. May 11th, I will be doing the Bay Area Moneymakers webinar meeting. This coming session, what we'll be doing trade less, but make more. This is a concept where if you'll isolate and just look at a couple of stocks and just stay with those, you can really change your trading dramatically. So here's the trading team. This is Brandon, myself, and then Michelle has joined us also, and there is Michelle a couple of years ago. And what's amazing is she still looks the same, and I don't know what the heck happened to me, but anyway, and then here, of course, is Brandon, Sharon, and our 2 grandsons, our granddaughter and grandkids. So glad to have the team together. And so let's take a real quick look at some charts. There we go. And let's start with the S&P. What is the S&P telling us? Okay, what happens next week that makes the that gives some credence to the market pushing itself higher? Well, it is option expiration, monthly option expiration week. What that typically means is monthly options expiration week has a bullish bias or an upside bias. So it would not be surprising to see us do a little bit of a pullback down to, maybe 289 or so, and then continue on with this push higher. Take out, here's the all-time highs, the 293.94. Either hit that or actually take it out. See if we get some negative divergence going on down here on the weekly chart or the daily chart. But as we can see, we have had no indication that we're ready to turn back yet. The buy signals have been quite simple. Wait for a pullback down to between the 34 and the 20, and that is the buy signal for S&P. What about the Qs? Qs, similar type situation. As you can see, starting to push up. It is just about back up to its all-time highs. Let me get rid of this fib here. Drawing. There we go. And as we can see, 187.53. I mean, we are literally a buck and looks to be about a $1.75 away from that. Could push on up and hit that also. Also, doing a similar thing to the to what the S&P has done. The pullbacks to the 20 have been basically your trigger signs all the way up this area. We are currently above that. We'll see if we go on up here and hit the 187.53 area and see if that provides us an opportunity to, that if you're going to get short or if you're going to try to let's say buy the SQQ, which is the leveraged inverse ETF for the Qs, you'd want to do it when you get your prices get up here at the at or close to the 187.53 and have it show you a reversal sign. We're not getting that yet. Right now, we're in gear, heading up. Here's one thing to keep in mind. If, which we know this particular low here was a significant low on a weekly chart, let's just throw a real quick fib on this to give us an upside target. And we'll come in here and grab that, I think. There we go. Yeah, grabbed it fairly well. Go down the bottom. And so if we break out above the 187.53, our upside target for a Q trade, a trade in the Qs is up here at the 1272 extension, which is $199. And so that would be approximately $12 above above the 187 level. If we throw that over and just look real quick at TQQ, which is the leveraged index ETF to the upside, what kind of an upside does that provide us? Similar type thing. As you can see, it's got a little bit further to get up here and hit this level. Now, this is partly due to the backwardation and the contango that is present in the leveraged ETFs, index ETFs. And that's okay. I mean, that's okay. It's just something that we need to be aware of. If you don't know what contango or backwardation is, to look that up on Investopedia.com. But if we expand and do something similar to what we did over on the other, we'll go here to this high here. We'll go to this high here. There we go. Down to this low. And where's the 1272? You can see the 1272 is up here. And that would be at $84.90. And so that's where that would be your upside target, your first upside target, if we continue to push up and, and we take out this high right there. So that gives you a couple of targets if you want to be trading TQQ. IWM. IWM was in fact looking weak going into the week. Let me get this for the time being. Okay, as we can see, we're pushing back. It too is pushing back up towards not its all-time high, because it is showing a little bit more weakness. But we did break out of this pattern here, this little downtrend. Now, if we can take out the 159.46, 159.50 level, you know, and continue to the upside, that would set us up for IWM to hit the higher level. One of the things that's kind of interesting about this, let's just throw another fib on here and just see where it kind of comes up. And now I'm going to use a fib extension in this particular case. And if you're wondering about, these are right there on the Thinkorswim drawing platform. And so if we basically take this move from here to here, from high to low on this most recent run, if I can get it up there, there we go, back down to this low, no, this low, no, that low, come on, Dennis. Here. Operator error, guys. Look where this puts, okay, if we get a similar run, a symmetric run to the run that happened, started after the day after Christmas in 2018, and it would go from here up to here, which that would put us up at 175, 11, and that would be basically a breakout above this all-time high here. So again, if the symmetry in this, you know, proceeds up. Now, is it going to go straight up and hit that? Yeah, probably not. However, it still gives you an upside target to say, hey, if this reaches up to, no, actually, belay my last, the upside target, the 100% symmetric upside target would be up here at the 182 level. So just keep that in mind. You can also strip this away and go to TNA. Do a similar type situation with TNA, where we would just basically take it from here to here to here to get a symmetric extension, and that would be up here at the $90 level. So from $90, and how much of a move would that be on TNA from current levels? Now, I'm not going to buy it where it's at right this moment in time. I'm going to look for a pullback into the 820-34 combo, somewhere in there. But if it did move from where it's at to right there, okay, that's about a 36% gain. So keep your eye on that. And that gives you some upside, hidden upside targets you probably wouldn't think about previously, but those are our targets. And you can watch the recording of this session to see exactly where those specifics, if you didn't have time to get them written down right now. I'm gonna talk about 2 stocks, 3 stocks, and then we'll move on. Then we'll basically call it a day. Okay. And first, I'm going to talk about Netflix. And what happened with Netflix today is it basically, news came out overnight. News came out overnight that Disney was going to launch their streaming video service. And look what happened. We had basically a nice, we were trying to move up to the upside. It looked like we were going to get our pre-earnings run. And bam. The news whacked Netflix, drove it back down. We have to remember that this is a news-driven event. And so it is basically a reaction thinking that, okay, Disney giving a preliminary service at $6.99 is going to negatively impact the $16.99 that Netflix is now charging for their service. And so as we see, we're going to bounce off the 351, but these reactions like this can happen when you're trading the individual stocks. And that's where if you're trying to mitigate news-driven type events, look towards trading the ETFs. You can trade options on the ETFs, you can trade the straight, non-leveraged ETFs, or you can trade the leveraged ETFs. But you'll have less of a potential of hitting, getting these kind of moves. We had gotten into a option trade here on Netflix as it was basically bouncing off this 364 level. Fortunately, he had hit our first target, so we were able to pull off the profit on that. But and so that makes sitting and waiting for the rest of the story, story to happen, between now and earnings, much easier because we remove part of the profit. Anyway, earnings come up on Tesla on Netflix. They are coming up on, come on, there we go. 416 after market close. Another one that happened also was our buddy Tesla. Tesla has been really prone to this type of downside movement ever since it's been in this downward trending channel that started on the 14th of December last year. And so look what happens here. There was some news that came out. They didn't like it, just some productivity issues. A couple of them. One, up here, we hit the upper reversal line, or the downtrending channel line. Bad news comes out overnight. And I was watching the futures on this, and it was showing Tesla was down at 265, and I'm going, holy moly, it finished the day at 292, so $30 gone. Then it starts working its way back up, gets back to the moving averages, hits the moving average, and if you take the premium newsletter or the go no go table, you know that I identified on Saturday, Sunday, that if prices get up here around the 278 to 280 level, go ahead and sell some calls. Hopefully you did take advantage of that, sell some calls, and we were able to close those positions out very nicely for a nice profit also. But look what happens here. We close here last night, 275. It gaps down this morning. That's not what I want. So 275 is where it closed. So, yeah, 276. It opens this morning at 268. So an $8 drop immediately. And those can be really challenging. And so that's one of the things that for premium members I've been recommending, not to hold Tesla positions overnight. Go ahead and just try to get your profit in during the daytime. Or the only time to hold overnight is if you get it ramming in to one of these moving averages, that would be the place where you can go ahead and take a position there to hold overnight. Because if you take out the high here, you'll be getting out of it immediately. And so that's what we've got with Tesla. Couple other areas to keep your eyeball on, and then we're going to call it a day. I'll just throw out now. Potential bonus trade coming up. Really hanging in there tough, hanging in there strong. Now has earnings coming up on 4/24 after market closes. And so that could wind up being a really good pre-earnings run trade. And another one that is kind of off the radar for folks, but worth keeping your eyeball on is Square. Again, Square earnings coming up on the 1st of May. And so if I mean, it is holding in there really, really well. Looks like it wants to rebound. We had an order in to buy some square at 74.75. I didn't get filled. It came down 7 cents away from my target. Now, if you happen to be watching those, if I'm watching the entity and I see that it gets within like 10 cents of where I want to enter it, I will go ahead and adjust. If I'm watching it, go ahead and adjust my entry. However, this one I was not working with this morning, and it dropped down, hit that level, and just did not trigger into a trade. But I will continue to watch this and see how it's setting up, because right now it's just coiling up for a potential blast higher. So that should give you a couple of ideas of some items to keep your eye on. I promise you that I would just show you one last thing, and this is on our buddy UNG. As you can see, UNG has been down here. It is hammering out a bottom. Looks like it wants to bounce. It has not started its bounce yet. But last year, when it did its bounce and did a run up into the midsection of the year, it ran from 23 bucks up to 38. When you throw that over and take a look at, well, what did its leveraged ETF do on that? Well, we'll just take that same period of time. Now, it didn't stay up there very long, but it did a bounce from here, ran up a lot. So if we do not have an absolute trigger other than we're at a level of support, and if the level of support holds, we need to take out the high from either this week or next week for this to be a working trade. It's okay to nibble a little bit. We've nibbled in for the premium members a little bit, and we'll just hang on and see what transpires and be ready to get back in if we miss the opportunity. So that's what I've got for today, guys. I will basically we will have the final hour in about a half hour, and so hey, keep the egg growing, trade wisely, trade profitably. And for our premium members, we'll be having the final hour coming up here shortly. And so until next week, aloha, trade well and prosper. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the Masters Golf Tournament. Mahalo and God bless everybody. Aloha.